This lunation, which begins with today's new moon in Capricorn, brings potent opportunities for spiritual growth as we close out the year of the snake. In this video, I share key themes and messages for personal and collective growth and healing as we move into the emerging energies of this lunar cycle. Welcome. My name is Valerie. I am a psychic medium and energy healer. And each new moon, I tune into the collective energy field with the intention of illuminating themes that we can work with at this time in support of individual and collective healing. So after I have 6 themes to share today, after reviewing those themes, I will offer a brief guided energy healing opportunity. If you would like to participate, we will work with a symbol that Spirit provided to help to move some of the energies for you individually that may be coming up in this upcoming lunation to make it a little bit smoother and more filled with ease. And if you'd like to explore these energies further while being held in a supportive energetic container, I welcome you to join me for my immersive meditation this Tuesday, January 20th. And you can also purchase the recording on my website. In addition, I do offer psychic healing sessions for individuals. If you would like to explore deeper with me in a one-on-one setting, I welcome you to reach out. Okay, so let's get into the themes. And as always, use your discernment on what resonates for you. So I will often share the symbol, song, or other kind of direct way that I first received the message. And I do this intentionally. It's to allow you to feel into the multidimensional nature of the message and uncover any additional layers that perhaps are meant for you. So you may receive an intuitive hit on the relevance of something to your life or the ways that the dots connect for you. So I encourage you to explore that, to kind of invite that in, to open to your own spirit's wisdom, and to trust what you receive. All right, so the first theme that came through was a theme of fleshing out stagnation, both physically and energetically. So there is, along with this, a continued focus on the sacral chakra, which came forward in the previous lunar cycle. And Spirit was emphasizing that movement and, gentle physical movement or more vigorous, whatever feels good to your body, but physical movement is an important part of our process of kind of, quote, digesting and harmonizing the frequencies that are coming through, those energies that are coming up to be released in the collective field at this time, and kind of helping us to, like, whatever we're internally mirroring in our own process, perhaps, or the ways that we are digesting, right? Like what is needing to come up and be unearthed and be released from the collective field as well. Because I know that has been quite overwhelming for many, especially more of us kind of sensitive, empathic types of people. So, the sacral chakra, it's our emotional center. And it also is the energetic kind of library, spiritual library for our masculine and feminine, or yin and yang energy channels. So, and the balance between those, having a balance of these energies of kind of more, and boiled down into maybe one word, doing and being, or receiving, right, for the feminine, and giving, or movement, right, for the masculine. So we can go into other qualities of stillness and darkness, and kind of the movement energies as well. But basically, these fundamental energies that flow through each of us, and that we each have a feminine or yin energy channel, typically on the left side of the body, and a masculine or yang channel on the right side of the body, and we have our own balance of these energies. And so it feels like, there's still a focus on the emotional energies. There's certainly, this has been highlighted right now. There's a great sense of uncertainty that I know many are really feeling, not only kind of seeping in from the collective energy, the fear of change, fear of the unknown, fear of that which is outside of your control, or that which may seem insurmountable. But this can also be resonating on a personal level as well. And so, indeed, sometimes, the collective energies can kind of kick up or stir up things in our own field. So, as within, so without, right? That goes, can be really positive when we just kind of step into our power around that. And sometimes it can feel really overwhelming when we are feeling that external energy. So, again, especially if you identify more as an empath, someone who's really sensitive to the emotions and to the energies of, kind of how you maybe hold that in your body or experience that, it's important to make sure that you are tending to and kind of brightening your energetic boundaries. And so, one way to do that is kind of bringing simply your awareness, asking, what is mine and what can be released to the earth? What am I holding that's actually not for my highest good? It's not my energy to hold, that kind of thing. And Spirit brings through every lunation, along with this reading, a crystalline ally to support with the energies. So this month, the crystalline ally that Spirit brought forward was aquamarine, and I'm a huge aquamarine fan because I'm a Pisces. But so going with the flow was the specific words that kind of came through along with the aquamarine, that this frequency, and if you don't have a piece of aquamarine, that's fine. You can work with your intention. You can just call in kind of that frequency. Aquamarine holds this divine feminine energy, supporting us with kind of flowing with the river instead of trying to paddle upstream, right? Allowing us to be more comfortable with waiting and seeing, maybe taking a broader perspective, loosening our control energy, surrender. So going with the flow as we are continuing to navigate a lot of chaos and dissonance in our collective field and possibly in our personal lives as well. And I will say that Spirit also brought through smoky quartz as an ally to help transmute and ground out any energies that are not meant for our highest good. So I've got my little smoky quartz here to support me as well. So that can be really supportive for helping to kind of release that which is not yours to hold as well as just that intention of connecting with nature, right? And there's many ways that we can strengthen our grounding and support with releasing the feeling of overwhelm or having like all this emotional energy kind of churned up in our system at this time. So, the next theme Spirit spoke about was this idea of us being in a time of germination. And I saw this image of a seed hole. So, a little seed with its outer shell and just starting to kind of like split open slightly. And at the same time, I was hearing a song that was actually a song that first came forward from this last summer around the time of in August of the Lionsgate portal. And it was the Celine Dion song, It's All Coming Back to Me Now. So when that song came through, so I sense we're kind of revisiting some themes here. We're kind of echoing on this idea of coming into a fuller expression of ourselves in some way. So living into our purpose more deeply, letting the heart lead instead of the mind. And along with that, there's this idea of the high heart center. And this is a kind of a like secondary energetic center that is our spiritual library or our center for our life's path and purpose. And oftentimes when I read about someone's high heart energies, I see these really beautiful little symbols and images that come forward that help to basically describe the way that they just inherently shape and shift the energy around them, the way that their essence mixes in with the collective field and the effect that they have, just through their inherent beingness, but also through their gifts, their talents, their drive, their passion, and what they feel called to, how they feel called to be of service in the world. And so it feels like that high heart focus is coming forward again. I also heard the song Desire from U2 coming forward, and that idea of our desire emanating from our heart center. And I'll talk more about that actually in a later theme. But this time around, with this song coming forward and the image of the seed, I'm sensing that the focus will be on kind of allowing for greater access to our power, to connectedness to our multidimensional nature, and our ability to shift whatever we may perceive as tangible, fixed, solid, concrete, in our day-to-day life, in our lived experience, and even energetically, if we're kind of more in that headset. So this does kind of echo a message that I received in a recent channeling session. I was connecting with the divine feminine frequencies. My sense was that I was connecting with Lilith, who to me, is kind of this untamable energy, and this idea of not capitulating to the wounded masculine energies that we hold within us, that we hold within our society, pretty obviously at this time. So the message that I heard, just to share a little brief excerpt from that channeling session, is deep within you, there is a knowing stirring, a knowing that all is pliable, that the fabric of reality as you understand it is like clay in the hands. So I loved that imagery of, shaping clay with the hands, also relating into the fact that we have our healing channels inside of our, flowing through our hands, our physical hands. And this message really speaks of stepping more fully into our power as co-creators. And this idea, this concept, kind of came forward first as an image and then formed more into a concept afterwards. So the theme is being open to receive without fully perceiving. So receiving without fully perceiving, right? I thought that was kind of fun. But there's this idea of a figure, you, me, anybody representing us as individuals, seated in meditation with a blindfold just gently covering their eyes. And their hands are outstretched in front of them. There's this sense of, having hands outstretched, palms facing upwards, open to receive whatever it is that spirit is bringing forth at this time. And so even though they can't see it, right, in at least with the eyes that see in our physical reality, so there may be an intuitive sense around what's emerging for you, but this feeling of trust, right, open to receive what it is that we are awakening within us, whatever we're growing into. Maybe there's, something that spirit wants to call forward into your life, that at first doesn't feel like such a great opening or opportunity. Especially, I was noticing after I did the reading, that we're in this time where there's a lot of astrological activity in Pluto this upcoming first week of this lunar cycle. So there's a potential for shadow work here as we shed the last of what we're needing to release in this year of the snake. So really, we're talking about trust. All right, so this one was interesting. This concept of energetic convergence came forward. And there was this image of like when someone's playing a flute, and you might imagine like the music literally like flowing through the air, like the music hanging in the air and flowing out. And Spirit's message was to hold on to the high notes. And by that, my understanding is that Spirit is referring to kind of like the higher frequencies, the high notes of our day to day life, right? Being in emotional experiences of love and joy and peace and connectedness and all of these things. And there was, along with that, an image of like spark plugs or light bulbs being kind of plugged in. And there was this idea that each of us who, intentionally kind of, and maybe unintentionally even, but each of us who connect with these higher vibrational energies are acting as kind of a conduit to, right? It's this idea of being a light worker. We're helping to channel and direct the light into the earth. Um, but I just thought it was interesting, the idea of electricity coming forward. This has come forward a few different times um, in different symbologies and different ways recently. So I feel like there's something about the kind of the importance of electricity, and maybe our understanding of electricity is going to be shifting and growing a lot in this year as well. But I looked up, the idea of convergence, and I just thought it was interesting. It describes a merging of processes or states towards a common point or condition, right? And so Spirit was indicating that when enough kind of, you know, folks are helping to bring those high frequencies together, amassing them together through our energy fields into the collective, will open the potential for what Spirit referred to as a state shift. So, this, is, if you think back to like your scientific learnings, is like the state change from solid to a liquid or liquid to a gas. So, that was the kind of feeling that I got around it. And to me, this brings forward, the concept that many in the spiritual community talk about in terms of moving more fully into a higher dimension or vibrational state, more fully embodying our light body or releasing dense energies and expanding kind of into this state of being enlightened, at least somewhat. So to me, this is a message of encouragement and just to believe that, by holding our center, continuing to nurture our ability to access the inner peace that, we have available to us. It's just a matter of accessing it, right? The frequencies of love, hope, joy, and other high vibrational states, that we are making a meaningful energetic contribution to our collective experience. So, kind of a little pep talk from Spirit there, and maybe a little bit of a description of how that kind of all plugs in together to support our collective energies at this time. All right, so Spirit brought forward this concept of atone, reconcile, receive. So stick with me here because I know this sounds a little biblical or, kind of in the vein of the concept of sin and atoning for your sin, that kind of thing. But the image that came forward was of a singing bowl being struck 3 times, representing these 3 phases that we're progressing through. So the first phase, atone, I looked up the definition of atonement because I was just curious, why did Spirit choose that word? And turns out it actually stems from the Old English at one mint, meaning to bring into unity. So it's actually about restoring our relationship to ourselves and others and remembering our oneness with Source. So Spirit doesn't choose words at random. So if this does stir up a reaction in you, there's a good opportunity perhaps to send some healing and clear kind of whatever charge that you may have around that connotation. So, in place of the word atone, Spirit did provide a secondary word that we could use, which would be the idea of correcting. So, this brings to mind the idea of repairing, making amends, the concept of karma, which I see as kind of having a different experience of polarity around one idea. Like, I often use the analogy of like two sides of the same coin. And, that feeling of like course correction. So I really sense that that's what a lot of 2025 was about, and previous years, likely for many of us, this idea of atoning or kind of course correcting. So the second phase is a less charged word. So Spirit brought through the word reconcile, or also a secondary word of align. So I kind of get the sense of taking stock, rebalancing, harmonizing our energies, being aligned with our heart line, our unique essence, and our soul's purpose. So, this is where I think that many of us may be focusing our energies in 2026 and perhaps beyond, into that state of kind of what I was describing before, coming back into a fuller expression of ourselves. So the third tone was this word receive, right? And so much of what receiving is really about, as we reference with that idea of the blindfold, and open-handed receipt, is this sense of trust. So receiving also means moving into our role as empowered co-creators. And I really think that we'll start to see more and more, flow and ease in receiving as we move into greater alignment. And as this is an individual journey for each of us, and the collective energy is kind of on its own timeline as well. My sense is this will occur at a different pace according to the timing that is in highest alignment for each of us. So just understanding that, we can have little bits and pieces, things shifting for us. We can see kind of previews of like shifting into that higher expression as well, and kind of take heart in that. And this actually echoes the same channeling session I had connecting with the Divine Feminine and Lilith. There was a portion here that it reminded me of, so I'd like to share that message. The tide is indeed shifting, and that which has felt burdensome and largely impossible will lighten to a frequency more easily noticed and shifted out of your field. So, this again is a message not only for us individually, but collectively, and a message of hope, a message of, that sense of take heart and trust. So finally, Spirit highlighted the connection between the heart and then the sacral chakra down below your belly button as a bi-directional relationship involving the emotions. So emotional energy emanates from the sacral chakra, but is often expressed and felt in the heart center. And the heart chakra, including the high heart, is the energetic origin or container or library for desire. At least this is the way I understand these things. So the pressure, what Spirit was bringing through was a sense of pressure from unfulfilled desire or purpose, and how that can kind of build up here from the heart chakra and then move down through the central channel into the sacral chakra, which incidentally is associated with many of our digestive organs, inflaming and kind of flaring up, perhaps on a physical level, but energetically also kind of flaring up the emotional body. So again, I noticed during the late summer following the Lionsgate portal, people were really being pressed by Spirit to live in their life's purpose more fully. And so we are definitely kind of circling around on some of these themes that emerged then. And this pressure, Spirit showed an image of like a volcano, how the pressure of unfulfilled desire can kind of build up like a volcano before it erupts. And it can cause us to feel all sorts of different emotions, which can be confusing to navigate. Just a few off the top of mind: restlessness, resentment, fear. So pay attention to what your emotions are signaling. If you're having big feelings emerge, listen to your heart. Is there perhaps a desire calling that you are yearning to live into? As always, just a note that you may not feel all of these themes in an overt manner. And it could also be that your role with some of these themes is to simply support by staying grounded, drawing the light in, helping to stabilize the field as others shift and release and receive healing. So now we're going to move into a guided healing. I'm going to be sending healing energy to support with anyone who wishes to receive some support on a theme that we're going to kind of work with imagery to shift and just remembering the power of your intention and your focused attention. So taking a moment to center within, remembering your connection to the earth, inviting your team of light to support and uplift this healing today. And just feeling into the image of a seed planted in the soil. You may see this in your mind's eye, or you may have a more sensory or just a knowingness. And this seed represents the blueprint of your being. All of your potentiality is encompassed within the confines of this outer shell. And it's cozy and safe and secure. It's predictable. You know what to expect. And perhaps watered by the emotions stemming from the desire of living more fully into your purpose, more fully into your unique song and authentic expression. You begin to soften that shell. And you may intend to work with the frequency of aquamarine or the water elemental to just support with allowing the seed hole to split open, beginning to allow nourishment to support your growth, to support that full expression, but still nestled under the soil in the dark womb of Mother Earth, not fully aware of what is available to you up there on the surface, what is possible. Just the beginnings of growing into a more full expression of the potentiality of your being. So just inviting healing energies and supporting this beginning process. Asking that whatever is coming forward for you at this time unfold with grace and ease. And you may wish to sit with this and allow yourself to deepen into this experience, connecting with your spirit. And so I send you gratitude for your willingness, your openness to receiving these messages and to moving energy together. And I'm sending you peace from my multidimensional heart to yours.